In the Dragon Ball franchise, there have been a number of stories that have featured dark tones, ranging from global conquest to the destruction of entire civilizations. However, among these, the Future Trunks timeline would have to be the darkest. As we know, the Future Trunks timeline is the world where the androids created by Dr. Gero attacked the people of the Earth, wiping out the vast majority of the population as well as the Z fighters. After the death of his teacher Gohan, only Trunks was left to defeat the androids, and it was so hopeless Trunks and Bulma resorted to time travel. However, this method proved successful, as Trunks was able to become strong enough in the past to defeat his enemies in his timeline, and bring what seemed to be peace to his future. However, come Dragon Ball Super, things took a turn for the worst, as Goku Blackened Zamasu came to destroy Trunks' timeline, and eventually it came to be erased by Zeno once Merged Zamasu proved impossible for the Saiyans to defeat. So in the end, despite all of Trunks' efforts and struggles to try and save his timeline, it was destroyed regardless, with all he fought to protect being rendered non-existent. However, with all of this being said, was the Future Trunks timeline always doomed? Was there anything Trunks could have done to stop his world and everyone he knew from being destroyed? I'm not so sure. One of the themes of Dragon Ball I've noticed is how whenever time travel is involved and the events are changed, similar events will still transpire. For example, future Gohan lost his arm against the androids, and present Gohan's arm was broken by Cell. Cell killed Trunks in the original timeline, and Cell killed Trunks in the present. Goku died from the heart virus in Trunks' timeline, and while he was saved from it in the present, he still died when he teleported Cell away from the Earth, and initially chose to stay dead. And there are even more examples. So while the original events may have changed, they still seem to occur in a different fashion later on, and Dragon Ball Super seems to expand upon this. Trunks brought peace to the future just as Gohan brought peace to the present, but in both, Babidi and Dabura appeared to resurrect Majin Buu. And while in the main timeline Buu was reborn and eventually destroyed the Earth and most of those who lived there, in the Future Trunks timeline, Trunks was able to stop Buu from coming back to life. You can possibly contend that Majin Buu's arrival in the universe and time stream was to correct what was changed. However, this happened differently for both timelines, as while the present Earth was destroyed, the Future Trunks world was not, but rather the Supreme Kai of Universe 7 died to stop Buu from being revived. This set in motion the cause of Trunks' world being destroyed, as Zamasu no longer needed to worry about Beerus, and could attack the Earth almost unopposed. So it's possible from this perspective that time is always trying to correct itself, and that changes can lead to even worse events in the future, and that Trunks could never have saved his future. And in fact, going back in time caused his entire timeline to be erased from existence, which is a fate worse than anything Buu or the androids brought with them. However, this final fate may have still occurred no matter what. As we discovered in the universe survival arc of Dragon Ball Super, Zeno, the king of everything, has often thought there were too many universes and wanted to erase some of them to reduce the numbers. It was also said that had Goku not proposed the idea of the Tournament of Power, then Universe 7 and the others competing would have likely already been erased. And as Zeno appears to judge whether a universe is worth saving based upon its mortal level, and even current Universe 7 is the second lowest ranked universe, it's likely that Trunks' timeline, where the Earth was basically wiped away, was bound to be erased regardless. So if this is the case, even if Trunks had saved everyone and Blackened Zamasu never appeared, his timeline would have been erased from existence regardless, as future Goku would have been long since dead. Now the fact that the Trunks timeline even still existed at all, given what we learned about Zeno, is a conundrum in and of itself, but we can perhaps use the butterfly effect for an in-universe answer, as Babidi didn't appear there until well after he did in the main timeline. And the other obvious point is that Toriyama and Toei likely didn't think of this plot point until after the Future Trunks arc had ended. However, using the current continuity of Dragon Ball Super and looking at what we've been told, it appears that no matter what Trunks did, the fate of his world was bound to be destroyed. Nothing he could do would ever prevent that, and the most consolation he could get was another timeline being made for him. Although there are certainly other possibilities that could have been written at the end of that arc. But even the fate of that timeline still seems like it could be called into question and have a very dark ending at this point. And this is yet another reason why the story of Trunks is likely the darkest in the history of the Dragon Ball franchise. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you could see all of my content right away when it comes out.
Yeah, and you better subscribe, enable those damn notifications.